जयो यशोदानन्दन जयो व्रजजन रञ्जन जयो व्रजजन रञ्जन जयो यमुनातीरवनचारी जयो कुञ्जविहारी जयो राधा माधव जयो कुञ्ज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो यशोदानन्दन जयो व्रजजन रञ्जन जयो व्रजजन रञ्जन जयो यमुनातीरवनचारी जयो कुञ्जविहारी जयो राधा माधव जयो कुञ्जविहारी जयो राधा माधव जयो कुञ्ज बिहारी जयो राधा माधव जयो कुञ्ज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत्र श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 26. Gatasvartham imam deham virakto mukta bandhanaha avigyat gatirjahyat savai dhira udaritaha. Gatasvartham imam deham विरक्तो मुक्त बंधनः अविज्ञात गतिर्जह्यात् स वै धीर उदारितः। गतस्वार्थमिमं देहं विरक्तो मुक्त बंधनः अविज्ञातगतिर्जह्यात् स वै धीर उदारितः। Mataji's Gataswartham without being properly utilized. Imam, this, Deham, material body. Viraktaha, indifferently. Mukta, being freed. Bandhanaha, from all obligations. Avigyatagatihi, unknown destination. Jahya, one should give up this body. Saha, such a person. Vai, certainly. Dhiraha, undisturbed. Udaritaha is said to be so. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. He is called undisturbed, who goes to an unknown remote place and freed from all obligations, quits his material body when it has become useless. Purport. Narottam Das Thakur, a great devotee and Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnava sect, has sung, "My Lord, I have simply wasted my life, having obtained the human body. I have neglected to worship your Lordship, and therefore I have willingly drunk poison." In other words, human body is specially meant for cultivating knowledge of devotional service to the Lord, without which life becomes full of anxieties and miserable conditions. Therefore, one who has spoiled his life without such cultural activities, it is advised here to leave home without knowledge of friends and relatives, and being thus freed from all obligations of family, society, country, etc., give up the body at some unknown destination, so that others may not know where and how he has met his death. Dhira means one who is not disturbed, even when there is sufficient provocation. One cannot give up the comfortable family life due to his affectionate relation with his wife and children. Self-realization is obstructed by such undue affection for family. And if anyone is at all able to forget such a relation, he is called undisturbed or dhira. This is, however, the path of renunciation based on a frustrated life. But stabilization of such renunciation is possible only by association with bona fide saints and self-realized souls, by which one can be engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Sincere surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is possible by awakening the transcendental sense of service. This is made possible by association with pure devotees of the Lord. Dhritarashtra was lucky enough to have a brother whose very association was the source of liberation for this frustrated life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Seeking blessings from all the devotees so that I can speak something for my own purification. So we are discussing from the first canto, 13th chapter. In this chapter, Viduraji, he comes back and he is giving a clarion call to Dhritarashtra to give up his material life and take to spiritual life. So in this section, Vidurji, he comes back and tells, O king, just get out of here immediately. Rajan nirgamyatam shigra. Please do not delay. Just see how death has overcome you, how fear has overcome you. Pashyedam bhayam agatah. Dhritarashtra, hearing this, he may say, O Vidur, whole life you have given me remedial measures. Because Vidurji is always, he was always active to give good instructions to Dhritarashtra. So he may think that now please give solution for this also, so that I may overcome this death. So Vidurji says, no, nobody can overcome this factor of time. Pratikriya nayasyeha. Nobody can overcome. Because it is a supreme Lord who has come in the form of time factor. So there is no superior power. And he says, everybody dies. Nobody can survive. Nobody is eternal in this world. Nobody is immortal. So then he tells, all your relatives are dead. All your brothers, all your sons, well-wishers, everybody has died. So Dhritarashtra may say, well, I think I may not die. So Vidur says, Arey, just see yourself. Andha puraiva badhiro manda pragyasha sampratam vishirna danta mandagni saragam kaphamudvahan. When you are coughing, all the ragas are coming out. You are blind also. Now you have become deaf also. So don't think you will not die, but just see the desire to live is so strong that you are living like a pet dog. Bhima pavarjitam pindam adatte grihapalavat. So condition of living entities in this world, Bhagavatam very strongly describes as a dog. Not a pet dog, street dog. A pet dog may be taken care of very nicely, but a street dog, sometimes he goes to a place and he's beaten, sometimes he gets food. Shut parito yatha dinam sarameyam griham griham charana vinnanti yad dinam dandam odanam eva. Sometimes he is beaten, sometimes he is given some food, always disturbed. So in this way, Vidurji is telling Dhritarashtra, please don't try to rectify this situation. Please get out of here immediately. Do not live such a degraded life. And then in this verse, he says, one who goes to a remote, unknown place, giving up all his bodily relations, without telling anyone, he is called as dhira. He is called as undisturbed. So very strong instructions it requires, for Dhritarashtra, it required such strong instructions and such environment for the knowledge to sink in. All of us, when we are described something or told something, Many times we don't take things seriously unless there is a situation, favorable environment around us. When we are in a certain situation, when we are disturbed, then the same knowledge sinks in. Same knowledge we understand, and then we realize, kuch to karna chahiye, We have spent lots of time. So that's how Dhritarashtra will now, get awakened by hearing this strong, wonderful instructions of Vidurji. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, Hari Hari Bhipale Janama Guainu Manushya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Na Bhajiya Janiya Shunya Vishakhainu. If somebody doesn't take to spiritual life and wastes his human body, it is like drinking poison willingly. As Ishopanishad describes, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam, this world is complete, perfect and complete. So somebody may say, what is perfect in this world? So many problems, so many miseries keep coming. Adhyatmika, adhibhautika, adhidaivika, klesha. So what is perfect in this world? So this world is perfectly made to frustrate our desires. That is the only thing that is the only purpose of this world, to frustrate our desires, to lord it over the material nature. And Krishna has done it very nicely through Brahmaji. To such an extent that Brahmaji himself gets, he himself laments the situation of living entities who are externally disturbed by all the natural problems, sometimes too much of the heat, sometimes cold, rain, internally disturbed by hunger, thirst, cough, vata, pitta, always disturbed, and that is not sufficient. The desire to enjoy is burning like fire. Shutritra dhatu birima muhurardhyamana shitoshna vata varsha itaretaracha. Then Kama Agni. Kama Agni is burning. So therefore Krishna has made this world just to frustrate our desires. So that he is not a sadistic person. He is like a loving father who wants to correct the child, who wants to go out and enjoy on his own. So therefore, although he has given us the facility to enjoy this world, but he also keeps sending some of his people, he keeps sending instructions, he comes in the form of scriptures, he comes in the form of devotees, he comes himself as a Supreme Lord to keep teaching the same principle. As the sages of Naimisharanya, they ask Suta Goswami, why did Lord appear in the womb of Devaki? To reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. So therefore, again and again, Lord keeps sending devotees in the lives of conditioned souls so that we can also realize that this place is not worth living. So therefore, in this purport, Prabhupada describes that human body should be utilized for spiritual realization. Otherwise, what is the use of living? As Bhagavatam says, even trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. Tarva kimna jivanti, bhastra kimna spashanti uta, na khadanti, na mehanti, kim grame pashavo pare. Animals are also, eating and mating. The bellows of blacksmith, they are also breathing, it seems. So what is the big thing in just living like a tree? So therefore, when we hear Hari Katha, when we hear the scriptures, when we hear the glorification of the Lord, then the desire to lord it over the material nature gets purified. Pibanti e bhagavata atvana katham, kathamritam shravana puteshu sambhritam, punanti te vishaya vidushitashayam, vrajanti tat charana saroruhantikam, punanti te. Anybody who hears pibanti, who drinks this nectar of Harikatha through the ears. So ears are wonderful organs. They can do the functions of all the other organs. We can see by the ears. We can drink through the ears. We can even smell through the ears, Bhagavatam says. Jighranti karna vyure. We can smell the aroma of the air, which is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord through the ears. How? Shruti Vata Nitam. The scriptures, they carry the fragrance of Lord's lotus feet. So therefore, when we hear this Harikatha through the ears, Punanti te vishaya vidushitashayam, Prabhupada writes, one becomes purified of the polluted aim of life. So, Jiva Goswami says, this verse, Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmana, this is a falastuti of entire Bhagavatam. This is how Bhagavatam is meant to purify our aim, polluted aim of life. And that is what Vidurji is doing here. He is trying to purify the polluted aim of Dhritarashtra's life. Otherwise, scriptures say if we are not taking advantage of human form, it is like killing ourselves. Atmaha. Because we are Satchit Ananda, and if we are not using our body in that way, then we are killing ourselves. So Srila Prabhupada writes, one who has spoiled his life without such cultural activities is advised to leave home without knowledge of his relatives. But Maya Devi is such a wonderful person. She never makes one hopelessly frustrated. She keeps one hopefully frustrated. Is bar nahi, next time I will enjoy. So that desire never goes. And even if one wants to renounce the world, Maya Devi cheats us and allures us with so many of the desires, so many of the temptations. Some time back there was a documentary which was made by some institution. And in that they had shown that one person, he came to know that now he is about to die, he has cancer. So without telling anyone, in the middle of the night, he goes to Varanasi. He gets on the train and without telling anyone, he's from a rich family, he's a businessman, but he has a spiritual inclination, so he understands, so now I'm going to die. So he sits in the train and he goes to Varanasi, Kashi, because he knows that anybody who leaves his body in Kashi, he gets liberated. On the way, he passes through Surat, and there a person gets in. And he says, Are, you have not eaten the, food which is made in Surat. If you have not eaten the food which is made in Surat, your life is half waste. So then somehow he doesn't get tempted. And then he continues, goes to Kashi. And there he stays in some dharmashala, and then he makes friends with some people there. And there he starts living in a very natural environment, every day getting up early in the morning, taking bath in Ganga. And he goes to this Manikarnika Ghat and he sees the dead bodies burning. And then feeling of renunciation becomes more and more stronger. And then as he's staying there, miraculously, that happens only in movies, miraculously, his cancer, disappeared. And then he became a little more healthy. And then he is enjoying life there, he is practicing some spirituality, and he is having a good time with all the devotees there. And one day as he is eating jalebi, in the market, in the newspaper on which the jalebi was given, he sees the news that, some company is about to be sold. And then he realizes that is my company. So from Mumbai, he has gone to Varanasi to give up his body, and then he realizes my company is about to be sold and my sons are not taking care of the company properly. Then he stops eating and then he starts thinking. So, uska friend बोलता है, साहब क्या सोच रहे हैं आप? What are you thinking? You're not thinking of going back, right? So he doesn't say anything. So then he realizes, सोच रहे हैं आप. Then ultimately he comes back. He gives up his spiritual journey and he comes back because he wants to save his business. He had given up everything and gone to Varanasi, Kashi to give up his body. But now again, because he somehow survived, then again the desires became strong. And then he takes the same train, Mumbai-Varanasi Express. Again the train stops at Surat. Then he remembers, अरे ये friend ने बोला था कि सूरत में नहीं खाया तो life waste. So the Surat half an hour train stop. So he thought I'll go and eat in that restaurant. So he gets down of the train and then he's walking, crossing the road. And as he's crossing, he's hit by a bus and he is killed. He dies there. So that is how material energy tricks us. Even if somebody wants to give up, The feelings of renunciation come somehow. Still, material energy is so wonderful, cheats us without even our knowledge. When somebody becomes old, we don't even realize. Maya Devi, acts through the time factor. Samay sabko chupchaap booda bana deta hai. Silently, everybody becomes old and doesn't realize the time has gone by. So that's how Maya Devi works. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that one should leave the body without telling anyone. Otherwise, all this material energy is like a material world is like a dream. Atma Maya Rite Rajan Parasyano Bhavatmanaha Na Ghatetartha Sambandha Swapna Drashtur Ivanjasa. Although the relationship between material nature and the living entities is not possible, because how can be there relationship between spirit and matter? But because we start identifying ourselves that this belongs to me, that's why we start suffering. That's what happens when somebody goes to movie theater, and when the hero is beaten, then the audience also starts crying. And then when the hero is enjoying with the heroine or actress, then he's also happy. Nothing is happening to him. He starts identifying with the person. So that's how Krishna says, Ichha, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, Sanghatas, Chetana, Dhriti, Etat, Kshetra, Samasena, Savikaram, Udharitam. All these are transformations of matter. Ichha, Dvesh, Sukh, Dukh. So how is it that it is transformation of matter? It happens to us. We experience these feelings, then why Krishna is saying that, okay, these are the transformations of matter? Because actually, all these interactions are happening in the material nature, but we start identifying, that's why we suffer. So therefore, it is described that, Prabhupada writes, Dhira means one who is not disturbed, even when there is sufficient provocation. Self-realization is obstructed by such undue affection for the family. And if at all one is able to forget such a relation, he is called as undisturbed. So to go beyond the illusions of the material world is very difficult. As Prahlad Maharaj says, Kutra shisha shruti sukha mrigatrishni rupa kvedam kalevaram ashesha rujam viroha nirvidyate natu jano yadapiti vidwan kamanalam madhulavai shamayandurape. Where is auspiciousness in this world? Kutra ashisha. It is all shruti sukha. When we are planning to go for some holiday, which is the stage when we get the maximum enjoyment? When we are planning for it. That is the only stage when there is no problem, everything is good. All the tickets are booked on time, the hotel arrangement is good, flush is working in the toilet, everything is good. But when we actually go there, then problems are starting. So it is all shruti sukha, it is all mriga trishna, it is all mirage. So therefore, this world is full of illusions. But this world is not an illusion. This is a temporary world. As Kaushalya Mataji was telling that one time, she went to Prabhupada and she told that, Prabhupada, there was one person in Delhi, he is telling that this whole world is an illusion. Prabhupada said, how dare he can call this world as illusion? This is a beautiful world created by Krishna. This world is not an illusion. It is so very beautiful, but it is temporary. And he says, for example, if you make a painting for me and you gift me a painting and then I say it is all illusion, how will you feel? You will feel hurt, right? So therefore, this world is not illusion. It is made by the Lord. But it is full of illusions. And these illusions, they take us away from spiritual life. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, all these are the illusions which are presented in front of us. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that self-realization is affected by such affection for the family. As Prahlad Maharaj says, when a person is living a materialistic life, surrounded by the wife and children, he becomes absorbed in their loving dealings. When the child speaks broken language, Kalaksharanam Anurakta Chitta, it is so very difficult. It is like a silkworm which weaves the cocoon around itself and dies there only. Tyajeta koshat kridivehamana karmani lobhat avitripta kamaha aupastya jahivam bahumanyamana katham virajyeta duranta moha. How can a person who weaves a cocoon of affection around himself, how can he give up this material world in detached consciousness? Katham virajyeta duranta moha, it is very difficult. So therefore, many times, renunciation appears. It's like, it is a very common phenomenon. When people go to Samshan, then the feelings of renunciation come up. Kya rakha hai is sansar mein, sab moh maya hai. As Prabhupada would say, this is called as Samshan Vairagya. The moment he comes out of the Samshan, then he starts thinking, okay, which movie to go to? What is the latest thing? So therefore, this is possible, Prabhupada writes, only by association of devotees. Such frustrated renunciation can become stable. The renunciation may come in people out of frustration, but that renunciation will become stable when we associate with devotees. So that is the cause of bhakti, association of devotees. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini, he analyzes what is the cause of bhakti. He says, pious actions are cause of bhakti. Is this fortune because of pious activities? I have done some pious punya, that's why I have come to Krishna consciousness. So he says, if we accept that pious activities are cause of bhakti, that means bhakti becomes dependent on pious activities, right? But that is not the case. So then what is the cause of bhakti? So maybe Supreme Lord's mercy is the cause of bhakti. So if Supreme Lord's mercy is the cause of bhakti, then why he is not showing mercy to everyone? That means he is partial. Lord is not partial. So then what is the cause of bhakti? Why everybody is not taking to Krishna consciousness? Then he comes to the conclusion that bhakti impregnates the heart of a person as a result of Krishna's mercy, which comes through a devotee. Krishna se tomara Krishna dite para tomara shakati ache. Ami to kangal Krishna Krishna boli dhai tab pache pache. So only devotees' mercy is the cause of bhakti. So that bhakti which is there in the heart of a devotee becomes the cause of giving bhakti to somebody else. So therefore Prabhupada writes, Dhritarashtra was lucky enough. He had a pure devotee as his brother, Vidurji. He was a pure devotee and therefore he was lucky. Rupa Goswami analyzes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what is bhagya? Yakena piyati bhagyena jata shraddhyasya sevane na nirvin nati sakto nai vairagya asyan adhikaryaso. So what is this ati bhagya? Extreme good fortune. In this world, what we call fortune? If somebody gets good name, fame, prestige, wealth, that is fortune. But what is fortune according to Rupa Goswami? He says, by some good fortune, that means by some distinctive impressions of the past, if somebody gets association of devotees, that is called as fortune. That is ati bhagya. So there is nothing material in that. It is all spiritual. That is a sign of greatest fortune. Mamanaradhya dukkhartam kutumbasakta manasa satsangrahito martyo vriddha seva parichyuta. So 4 things make one fortunate. A chance to worship Krishna, anaradhya. Kutumba asakta. If somebody is asakta to kutumba, he is most unfortunate. And if somebody takes to spiritual life, he understands that the purpose of my life is not just to take care of my family, but to connect my family to Krishna. That is most fortunate person. Satsangarahito martyo. If somebody doesn't get association of devotees, he is most unfortunate. So if somebody is getting association, he becomes the most fortunate. Vriddha seva parichyuta. If somebody is not getting chance to serve the Vriddha, elderly Vaishnava, senior devotees, he is most unfortunate. So a person who gets a chance, he becomes most fortunate. So people, they have become unfortunate because they have given up their connection with Krishna. They have given up association of devotees. Just like one devotee, Trinakarta Prabhu, is recalling, once they were walking with Prabhupada on a morning walk, and Prabhupada, he was in New York Central Park and they were walking, and a big branch had fallen. So Prabhupada pointed out at that branch and said, just see, modern society is like this branch, dead, because it has given up the connection with the main tree. So similarly, our society, the more we are going away from Krishna consciousness, the more we are becoming dead. Sometimes in the tree, as you see, just like in our Vrindavan garden, a storm came last year and the Kadamba tree fell down. So we thought that now the tree is going to die, but still the roots little bit were remaining, and our Keshav Chandra Prabhu somehow rescued that tree. It is still flourishing, giving fruits. So even if some branches, some roots are remaining, the tree will survive. So as Srila Prabhupada, he would say, modern as Indian civilization, Indians, Vedic civilization, it is like a dead elephant. Although dead, but still it is very precious because the impressions are still there. It can be revived back, not completely gone. So therefore, unfortunate person can become fortunate when he comes in association of devotees. Mayevam mamadhamasyapi syateva achyuta darshana riyamana kalanadya kvachit tarati kashana. Just like Akruraji is telling, he's thinking, oh, how come this great fortune has come upon me? I was so unfortunate, I was so fallen, I was serving Kamsa, Adhama, but now today I am going to get darshan of Achyuta darshana. Just like in the river, by the inconceivable will of the time, sometimes the two straws, they come together. Riyamana kalanadya kvachit tarati kashchana. So similarly, somehow, by some great fortune, kono bhagyo karo samsarak shayonmukha hoye, sadhu sangak tabe Krishna rati upajay. Only by association of devotees, one can become disinterested in this from this material world, slowly, gradually. Otherwise, it is not possible. And devotees are so very eager to do this. Otherwise, what was the need for Vidurji to come back? The person who criticized him, Duryodhan, and the person who didn't even say a word when Duryodhan was criticizing. What is the need for a person to come back to such person? Out of immense compassion, he is coming. That's the eagerness. That is called as Jiva Daya. So that is the mercy which Srila Prabhupada had shown to all of us. Even in the middle of the night, in 1977, it was in last few months in July. He is having fever in the middle of the night. He is sleeping, and 2 o'clock he gets up. And then he starts telling, these rascal scientists, they do not accept this. Go and preach to them. In the middle of the night, he gets up and starts telling to, Yashomati Nandan tells a story of a scorpion biting a sage who was taking bath in the river. Scorpion was drowning and sage he was compassionate. He took that scorpion. Scorpion bit that sage only. Fell down in the river again. Again, sage picked up. And the person, it went on for 3-4 times. And the person who is onlooking, he says, Arey, why are you, trying to save him? He's such an envious living entity. The sadhu says, Arey, he cannot give up his nature. How can I give up my nature? So that is how Vidura is doing. He is not giving up on Dhritarashtra. That is our hope. If devotees give up on us, then there is no hope. If Krishna gives up, still there is hope. But if devotees give up, there is no hope. Because devotees are more compassionate sometimes even than Krishna. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we should not disturb the faith of ignorant people. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayed sarva karmani vidwan yukta samacharan. Engage them according to their nature. Don't disturb them. Prabhupada writes in the purport, devotees go one step ahead. They disturb the faith of ignorant people. They bring them to Krishna consciousness. They take all the risks. That is the compassion. So because they are tasting something amazing, so natural outcome of that is they want to give that to others. Nana bhavera bhaktajan hamsa chakra vakagan yate sabe kore navihar. Krishna keli sumrinal yaha pai sarvakal bhakta hamsa karoe ahar. So devotees, they are like swans. They are like chakravak. They are tasting the nectar of lotus flower. The stem of the lotus is very tasty for the swans. Nana bhavera bhaktajan hamsa chakravakagan. They are like hamsa chakravak. And they are moving around in this ocean of Krishna's pastimes, Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And they are enjoying. So please, Kaviraj Goswami is saying, please go to that ocean. Sei sarovare gaya hamsa chakravako haiya sada taha karaha vilas. Please go to that ocean of pastimes of Krishna and Mahaprabhu and enjoy Vilas. What will happen? Khandibe sakala dukha paibe parama sukha anayase habe ullas. All your problems, all your miseries will go away. You will become happy without any extra endeavor. So devotees, they don't stop there. If somebody is not coming, they are aa nahi rahe, so what can we do? No, devotees are like the clouds. Ei amrita nukshan sadhu mahanta meghagan vishvodhyane kore barishan. So these devotees, they are like the clouds. Vishwa Udyan, in the garden of this world, they are showering. They are showering what? They are showering their own devotional service, their own devotional sentiments that comes as a rains. And because of that rains, what is happening? Tate phale amrita phal bhakta khaye nirantar tara sheshe jiye jagajan. And they are enjoying. And because of this rains, amrit phal is growing. Bhakti lata vriksha grows and the fruits come and they are enjoying the fruits themselves and kha ke pet bhar gaya, then bato, enjoy and then distribute. Kitna khayenge, As Mahaprabhu tells in the 9th chapter of Adi Leela, I have brought this Bhakti Lata Vriksha, Bhakti Kalpa Vriksha, the tree of devotional service. So many fruits are there in this tree. How much can I eat? How much can I distribute? Please help me. Bharat Bhumite Manushya Janma Hoila Yar. That is the verse where Mahaprabhu is speaking this. So therefore, devotees, they shower their own devotional sentiments. And when we have a fertile ground, our heart is fertile, then immediately the seed which is there grows into a wonderful tree. Just like it is described about Raghunath Das Goswami. Ya sarva laukai kamano bhiruchya saubhagya bhuka chida krishtapachya tatraya maro panatulya kalam ta prema shakhi phalavana tulya. So yes, sarva laukaik mano abhiruchya. Raghunath Das Goswami was pleasing to everyone. Saubhagya bhu. He was so fortunate. His heart was so fertile that you don't have to till the land also. Without even tilling the land, the phala of devotional service, a tree of devotional service is growing. So that is how a devotee is always eager to give devotional service to everyone. Yare tare koilo dan, Mahaprabhu data shiromani. Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord, he is most magnanimous, and devotees are also most magnanimous. So that's how devotees are. One of the Prabhupada disciples, Mahamaya Mataji, she is recalling that one time Prabhupada was giving a Pandal program and one person raised his hand and he said, Swamiji, can you show some miracles? Not a very common question, So Prabhupada answers the same question differently in different places. So all the devotees were sitting. So he was demanding, that, Prabhupada, Swamiji, can you create some ashes or can you create some articles? So 150 devotees were sitting in front, all American, European, all the Western devotees. So Prabhupada, stooped his hand to the audience and said, "This is my miracle. I have changed these Malechas and Yavanas into Vaishnavas." And all the devotees, they were so happy and they shouted, "Jai Prabhupada." That is the glory of our devotee. They can destroy our sinful tendencies, they can destroy our material conditionings, and they can give us pure devotional service. So that is the glorious position of the devotees. And that's how they play a most crucial role in the life of a sadhaka. And that is our fortune. As Prabhupada says, Dhritarashtra was fortunate enough that he had a brother like Vidura. So if we have some devotee who loves us, who cares for us, that is our fortune. Otherwise, who cares for others in this world? Everybody is interested in themselves. So by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, he has created a house in which the whole world can live. So therefore, that is our fortune. Navayogendra Maharaj, he recounts. So when he met Srila Prabhupada first time, so Prabhupada asked him, "So what is your name?" So he said, "Prabhupada, my name is Yogendra Kumar Sharma." So Prabhupada says, "From today onwards, you are no longer Yogendra Kumar. Your name is Nava Yogendra Das." In first meeting only he was initiated. Nava Yogendra Das. And then I said, Navagendra Maharaj says, I told Prabhupada, when I was young and I had my horoscope, and one of the astrologers, he had told that I am very fortunate. So Prabhupada said, "Yes, your fortune is that you have come to me." So that is the fortune. Otherwise, all the fortunes of this world, it is all Shruti Sukha. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, it is all Shruti Sukha. It will get lost in some time. So therefore, the devotees are so very benevolent, so very wonderful. Just by their touch, one gets purified. As Bhagirath tells to Ganga Devi, Ganga Devi is thinking, when I'll come here, all the people will take bath in me. They will dump all their sins in me. How will I get purified? Sadhavo nyasina shanta brahmistha lokapavana dhunvanti te aghamapi haranti te anga sangat. Yes. So he says, just when the devotees, they come and they take bath in you, they will purify you. How will they get purified? Krishna is there in their hearts. Krishna will purify them. So that's how devotees, they purify us by their darshan, by their touch. Just by remembering them, one gets purified. So therefore, 6th canto, Shukdev Goswami says, there is nothing in this world which is more purifying than devotee association and service to devotees. Na tathahi aghavan rajan puyet tapadibhi yata krishnarpita prana tat purush nishevaya. So when we serve the devotees, that is the greatest fortune, and that purifies the heart the most. So therefore, anybody who practices Krishna consciousness, following the instructions of devotees, great souls, gradually they become disinterested. All of us, we can, introspect the day we started practicing and today. Is there some difference? Lots of difference. Our aspirations have changed. Our desires have changed. Some desires are there, but overall, the direction of our desires have changed. Our thought process has changed. It is all by the association of devotees. Association has transformed us all. So therefore, Rishabdev is telling to his sons that by association of devotees, one can gradually get disinterested in the name, fame, relatives, friends of this world. And devotees, although they are doing their worldly duties, they are not affected by them. Naivam vida purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasajita shadgunanam chitram vidura vigata sakradadadita yannamadheya madhuna sajahati bandham. So it is described about Priyavrat Maharaj, who was earlier a brahmachari and then he got married. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking, how come he got married, he had children, he was running the entire kingdom, still he was not affected by all these material entanglements? How is this possible? So Shukdev Goswami says, what is wonderful in this? Na chitram, there is nothing astonishing in this. Because anybody who has taken shelter of devotees, anybody who has taken shelter of Krishna, naturally he overcomes Shad Guna. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. All these are naturally overcome without any separate endeavor. What to speak of that? Just chanting one name offenselessly can purify one of all the sins. What to speak of all these anarthas? So that's how Bhagavatam gives us so much of hope that okay, there is hope for us also. Although we may have anarthas, we may have our conditionings, but the devotees like Vidurji, they are hope for us. That okay, someday somebody will come and shake us up, come out of your lethargy. We may be practicing, but somewhere we get lethargic sometimes. So we should have somebody around us who can shake up us and tell, okay, now it is time to go ahead. Stretch yourself. Don't be stressed, but stretch yourself. Come out of the complacency and practice Krishna consciousness and perfect your life. So with this, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.